Hey, welcome to the StockinetteZombies. I'm Amy, also known as Jnitma.
We're getting an echo. Sorry.
I was gonna say I can't hear it, but
Oh, the fun world of multi-playing things. So sorry, you said this talking to zombies. I'm just gonna say, and I'm Megan, also known as Just Run It, and this is episode 280.
280. Woo!
I know, nice round number.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we totally jinxed ourselves last week with like, it's sweater weather. It's so beautiful. Mother Nature's laughing at us, laughing and laughing. It's in the 90s here, which it doesn't get very often. So,
and I just got invited to play in the pigskin party. I believe that's Down Cellar Studios.
Yep, Jen,
and
Boston Jen.
Yeah. And I was like, football season? What? It's too hot.
Yeah, no, it's definitely been a mind meld here with like school starting in a couple of weeks. I know a lot of people have been talking about their starting, and the days are long, but the months are short. Like it just doesn't feel like we've made it all the way through the summer.
Right.
Yeah,
I agree with that completely. Yeah, no, I mean, we're just talking about work schedules, and to me it feels like the middle of the year, but the end of August is getting
fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's pushing it. Yeah. It's like, no.
Yeah,
we're running out of runway.
Yeah,
sure.
We are. Speaking of busy, ZKN is really busy this week. Tonight, we are chatting with Lisa, Paper Daisy Creations.
I'll try not to completely forget. Like I apologize to everybody. Just text me next time.
Well, I thought maybe, again, it's one of those things. I was in a Zoom this morning as well, where the organizer didn't show up, and we were just kind of chatting away, and I felt kind of bad for everybody as far as like, oh, we're entertaining the extrovert. But then people started to get worried, right? Like, she never doesn't show up. Is she okay? And she's not answering texts, and she's not answering phone calls. So I was like, I hope nothing's going on. So yeah, your brain quickly goes into like, well, maybe she's got something going on. Like I didn't know. So, but yeah, we've got Lisa tonight, which will be super fun. I know there's a lot of people that are knitting things that aren't what we're knitting, which is the everlasting socks, KAL. So bring those, show them off, talk to the designer. She's amazing. I love her color sense. I love, she's been to ZK several times. And she's a lot of fun to have in the designer showcase. And so I'm excited to have her there. And then tomorrow, Wednesday, we've got our public ZK and VKN, which is like invite everybody. I know I saw Shayna was on saying hello. Shayna and Randy and Cheryl and Mimi and Julie are all saying hello out in the live chat. She shared in her newsletter, hey, if you follow me, it's Yumi Yarns, here's the information to join. And I was like, that's really cool. So inviting friends to the table, please feel free to share that with anybody that might be interested. And if we have a really large group, we'll have breakout rooms. So that'll be fun. And then
definitely everyone's welcome. Please. We'll get more people on Discord. We'll get people coming to the VKNs.
Absolutely. The more the merrier. Yep. And then on Saturday, we're having a gnome parade, which my gnome, I'm not going to, and no spoilers, but some of the ZKNers from last week know that my gnome has a very interesting backstory. Had some special, knitted accessories. And it just keeps evolving. So my story is going to be prolific. If you've knit a gnome and it's not necessarily this KAL gnome, but you want to share your story with Sarah, which she was with us last week, sharing kind of her backstory and some of her designing. She's not just gnomes, but the gnomes are adorable and fun and really her brand, right? So yeah, busy week. And then in September, we have so much to look forward to. We've got Jessie Ostermiller, who is going to talk to us about her color work Bible book.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have an author, and she's got the projects that she's going to show us that are in the book, as well as some of the lessons. So that's super exciting. And then we're gonna have Hohi Locatelli at the end of the month. I'm so excited.
I wound up my yarn for one of my projects.
September 1st is going to be here before we know it. That's like next Tuesday, a week from today, right?
Yeah, and I want to go and stir the stash to get some fall colors for the other one that I had submitted. I only submitted 2.
Okay. Yeah, I just submitted 2 as well. I wasn't an overachiever, but there is kind of a time frame as far as if you want to be eligible for both our prizes and Hohi's prizes. It has to be a new cast on, and you have to sign up via her form, which we have out on Discord, and I also sent out in the email that I sent today. Then whips count for ours as well, so you can't double dip with a whip. But if you do have something of hers, which she has so many, I think like 200 and some designs, it was really hard to make a decision based off of 200 and some designs. But yeah, you'll see those coming in upcoming whips and FOs and all of that fun. So yeah, new KAL speakers coming up, and so many exciting things happening is what Shayna said. Yep.
Yeah, I am excited for that. And again, getting invited to the pigskin party got me thinking about a lot of new cast-ons as well. So
yep.
There's
maximizing points, and yeah,
I don't know, there was a lot going on there. It seems kind of like one of our KALs, it's long running, you score points as you go. If you use a sponsored pattern or yarn, you get more points. So it's like, oh well, I'm going to learn a lot of new things.
Very cool.
Get this team off the ground.
So other than those wonderful ways to get involved with the zombie community, this week is tips and tricks.
Yes. I have a really simple tip, and it's not even all that groundbreaking, but I've been working on this Truffula tuft.
Oh, it's gotten so big.
Yeah. So the pattern says you can stop after 22 inches, or maybe it's 24, or you can go for a double wrap cowl. And this is really wide. So a double, this thing's going to be so warm. And I have seen people kind of snoot it, put it around their upper body as well, because it is so wide.
Is that what makes something a snoot? Is that it goes over your shoulders?
I don't know. I was just trying to think of a term. It's not a
verb.
Cowl, it's not a poncho. What is it? It's a snood. Sure.
Okay. We'll go with that.
So I've been working away on it on my vacation last week, and I found it very helpful to, motivate me to put in a little progress keeper and just move it each day.
Yep.
This is actually last night's progress. So, and I did get a couple rows on it this morning. So, I should probably move this up to here, but maybe that'll be demotivating. But on vacation, I was getting a good, 10 inches on it per session or whatever. Yeah. And so it was very motivating to keep going, because it is the same 6 rows over and over. So
I was finding like the clues and the inertia with which you could kind of, or acceleration with which you could be like, I knocked out clue number 5, right?
Well, yeah.
So it's similar, right? When you've got kind of a long running project like that, you have to be able to measure where you're at.
And again, this is really fun because it's switching between textures and other things are going on there. But it's also, for me, a frustrating knit, because the mohair likes to grab onto the other strand as you're knitting. And so sometimes you have to separate them, and like when they try to intertwine and make love. And so you're just like, okay, this is becoming tedious. And so in order to motivate myself along, I put in a little marker to give myself some, like, oh, I did accomplish something in all of that mess and angst and what.
Friday, after we watched Romeo and Juliet, Debbie was remarking that like she had knit most of the day, but then she had, because she had done the same thing, right? She had put a marker in and she was like, this is how much I accomplished for a full day of knitting. And this is how much I accomplished for just the Zoom portion, which granted, it was like at that point, well, it wasn't as early for her because she's out in California. But it was early morning at that point. But like just the amount of like not checking your phone, or texting people or whatever when you're just chatting and knitting away in a Zoom, it just flies.
Right.
Randy had that hitchhiker that she basically knit in a couple of Zoom sessions. It was, it's pretty phenomenal.
Well, and I'm looking at this progress and I'm like, well, I went back to work, right? So this is evening progress, and it's probably even after supper, after everything progress. I didn't pick it up in the middle of the day and just start knitting on it and forget. Staycation was nice.
Well, it definitely, I've been reading articles as well about just like how time away makes you much more efficient when you're back. So hopefully you're feeling some of that. I mean, it's never fun to go back to work, but
I accidentally had a Ravelry tab up in a meeting this morning, so.
Wah, wah.
Wah, wah.
All right, I'm holding up my tool and my tip and trick, which is also a tool. I have noticed that I am doing a lot with a crochet hook recently.
Okay.
And those are some of my favorite techniques. Like I feel like kind of crossing over and using crochet in a way that helps finish or helps start some of my projects. So I cast on, and I know you knit one, right, Amy, as part of the purlers, but I could cast on a PB hat, which uses a provisional crochet cast on, which is my absolute favorite provisional cast on. I do enjoy Judy's Magic Cast On, which just uses 2 needles rather than spare yarn. But I find that can get really fiddly. The edges can be kind of weird because you're doing all kinds of needle management and it can start to unravel on you. And so for a nice, secure, firm provisional cast on, the crochet hook onto the needle. I've tried doing the crochet chain and then picking up stitches along the crochet chain, and I always end up having to like cut the yarn off of the object to free up the things, because if you put it directly onto the needle with that spare yarn, there's no guesswork. It's just knit that next stitch and off of the spare yarn. And so I've already sealed up my provisional cast on here. It would have been a little more entertaining, but I couldn't stop myself. This is really great Zoom knitting. I was out in Discord today telling folks, and this is Lola Bean Mean Green and Mitchell's Creations Life's a Beach, which is leftover from my recent fingering weight finish. So,
I was magic loop and I didn't like it. I mean, it prompted me to order some small circumference for hat because that was the way I wanted. Anyway, so, and also my internet unstable message just came up. So hopefully.
You were a little like, but I got what you were saying, which was that something about circular needles and it not working well.
Oh yes, through Magic Loop, I wasn't happy with it for that hat. And so I got some smaller circumference to make another one.
Yeah. So this is, which you'll appreciate. This is the smallest size, and it's still a little big. I'm like, this is a child small. Maybe it won't fit me. And then I looked at the cast on and the needle size, and I've knit enough sock head hats that I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to knit the child small. So plug out for Shayna Lines. If you sign up for her newsletter, you can get the pattern for free.
Okay.
So the PB sandwich hat. And then the other thing that I recently used, my trusty crochet hook, was I tried seaming up the sides of my mixed tape, which you will be able to see the wrong side of it, just using normal seaming. And it wasn't coming out quite right. And again, I don't know if it's because I was doing that right side, wrong side, and there was a lot of gap. And so, you know, even though the yarn was really cinching it up tight, there was a gap on that edge stitch. So I almost had too much float between the edge stitch and the rest of the work. And I used my crochet hook to pull the yarn through both layers and then just kind of chain up the side, which is the type of seaming that I enjoy. It creates a little more bulk there, you can see, because you have to have like a full stitch on the other side, and then you also have the chain. But it does not affect the finished object at all for me. And it's just a nice, really nice clean seam there.
Yeah, I would assume with negative ease projects, it might be
a little more,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, this is definitely a positive ease project. And I knit it with positive ease. So
yeah.
But yeah, just learning new techniques and using that crochet hook is a tip and trick that I've been I used a lot recently.
I've been using it to do some beading, so a teeny tiny crochet hook. So
Yep. So looking at some answer or some Shayna's saying gauge, but I think I just think I have a really small head. Like I bet I'm getting gauge, Shayna.
Yeah. And I had a smaller gauge. I think I knit the largest hat, and I knit a smaller gauge, and it fits me. So, and the largest
color
hat
underneath there. Yeah.
The largest hat, I believe, was smaller than, I don't know. It fits. It's not slouchy.
I will, future Megan will link that provisional crochet cast on directly onto the needle. It's my favorite. I reference it. The thing that I forget is that you start off with the spare yarn, like a slip knot on the crochet hook, not on the needle. Because I get it on the needle, and I'm like, but how do I? And if you start off with it on the crochet hook, you can always get it going, because it's just creating loops and then having a little crochet chain at the bottom. But yeah, kind of makes you feel multi-crafty, even though like the finished object is knitted, you're doing a different technique. So
I know that there's a specific front back to forward, like how you pull the yarn through the hooking that I always have to remind myself every time.
Yep. So. I think it's Z, or I saw something about ZZ spun yarn versus, and it's different with crochet because you're looping it the opposite direction. But yeah, it's I really love the sweater. She's coming out with it in September. I finished it different than obviously what she said, but I knew that I was going to appreciate that seam a lot better if I did it. I finished it a different way than.
I know that I changed some seaming on my shandy because I was having issues. So
okay,
I understand.
Yeah.
I mean, I was mattress seaming in both times, but if I'm looking really closely, one has like 1.5 because I had to move over a little to get the better seam.
Got it. Yep. Yeah. It really depends on how that edge, if the edge ends up firm for you. Yeah. So, that is our tips and tricks here in August. I think I'm super excited that we're continuing to do this. I know you had to move a haircut appointment so we could. It was like, if it doesn't happen today, I don't know if it'll happen this week. But the whole month of August, we made it through.
Yeah, she luckily did have Thursday appointments, so 2 days. I'll be able to get this cleaned up again.
I was thinking about that when I was looking at my hair, because you were saying yours grows unevenly, right?
Yeah.
Like, do I have any weird uneven spots? Yeah.
But it's just something I noticed over time. This side grows slower.
Yep. Well, thank you to everyone that joined. I see Teresa and Cheryl also joined, so I wanted to say hello to them. Anything else?
No, I didn't have anything. We were started a little late. That's my fault. I had some work stuff wrapping up, but
we will see folks tonight with Miss Lisa. Bring your socks or shawls, or she's got a mystery KAL that I know a lot of. I bought a kit, but I'm telling myself that I can't use it or cast on the mystery KAL unless I get some of my design work done. This was procrastinating. Me and designing are mad at each other right now, but yeah, it's it'll be a good time.
Yep. All right. Bye.
Bye, Ufta.